Hello and welcome to the YYC Soccer Podcast. My name is Jason Kmet and my co-host is Scott Strasser. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
A pretty good week. Not too much to report overall. Just looking forward to some good soccer action this weekend and not a whole lot else to report, I would say.
Fair enough. Me too. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I've had a pretty busy week at work. Not quite over yet, but looking forward to the weekend.
If you are a new listener to our podcast, Scott, what is the YYC Soccer Podcast all about?
So we talk about soccer in Calgary at the professional, post-secondary, and amateur levels. We talk about Cavalry FC and the Calgary Wild. We also talk about the city's post-secondary soccer teams, those being from the University of Calgary, Mount Royal University, SAIT, and Ambrose University as well, to a lesser extent. But we basically try to just cover the entire gamut of soccer, albeit with a Calgary-specific focus.
And this week, we'll review the Calgary Wild's match against Ottawa Rapid that happened on Wednesday night. We'll preview Cavalry FC and their matchup against Valor on Saturday at Spruce Meadows. We'll talk about a whole bunch of post-secondary matches coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Calgary and in Lethbridge and in Edmonton. I think various teams are all across the province. And we have an interview this week. Scott, who's our interview with?
Yeah, last week we interviewed Levi Laing, who is a center back / right back for Cavalry FC. He's one of the international players, joined this season after playing all of his football to date in his native England. So he talked to us about what it's been like to adjust to the Canadian Premier League and get used to kind of living away from home.
We'll get to that interview in the Cavalry segment, but we're going to start off first with the Calgary Wild.
Hi, this is Tegan Stewart. You're listening to YYC Soccer Podcast.
So, Jason, you were at McMahon for some of this match against Ottawa Rapid the last time the Calgary Wild were facing them. This was kind of a do or die game for the Wilds. As slim as their playoff hopes were, there still was a slimmer of a chance that they could qualify for the postseason if they got a win in Wednesday's game. I don't think it's mathematically certain that they are eliminated from playoff contention right now, but it's less than a 1% chance, I would say, looking at the table following the Calgary Wild's 2-1 loss to Ottawa.
Yeah, the only possible scenario where something could possibly work is if the Wild won all 4 of their last games and then got lots and lots of help. So it's not practical that it could really happen at this point. You know, what are the chances that the Wild could reel off a 4-game winning streak? It's just not with the form they've had. That would be remarkable, but I think that it's extremely unlikely.
Yeah, not only that, they would need Vancouver, who are the team ahead of them in the standings, to lose all 4 or 5 of their last games. And then depending on what the tiebreaker is, I'm not sure if it's goal differential or head-to-head. That's also a factor that would skew heavily in Vancouver's favor.
So last night's match, I got there just in time to see Ottawa's first goal, but let's kind of review how it all went down. So the Wild broke their scoring drought. I believe it was 406 minutes when it ended in the 15th minute. The Wild were able to get a ball in the back of the net, although a Wild player did not accomplish that feat.
Yeah, this was quite the remarkable own goal from Suzanne Holland. It was a decent cross in from, was it Ali Green on the right wing in this game? I think so.
I think so. I think she was playing further up on the right side in this match.
I think it was her cross, but it was just miscleared by Holland and it just sailed into the top corner. Quite the finish from her, to be honest, but obviously not in the net she would want to score in. That broke a lengthy goal drought for the Wild. And after that, I mean, I think there was some hope that maybe that's just what they needed to get the scoring duck off their back and put in a strong performance. And while I do think that the Wild had some really good chances in this game, Melissa Dagenet, the goalkeeper for the Rapid, kept them at bay. And then just before halftime, Rapid were able to equalize.
In the 43rd minute, they had a free kick attempt pretty much like straight on, like right from in the middle of the field, well, maybe 22, 23 yards out. And Julia Benatti, she made no mistake and tied it up going into halftime.
Yeah, this was a great shot from her. I don't think Steph Vukovic really had a chance to get to it, but all things were level at the half, and second half was exciting. The Wild almost came out with a late winner from Sarita Thurton, who came on as a substitute. Jason, which I know is something that you've been advocating for quite a while. That was around the 87th minute, and it looked like things were going to finish 1-1. And then DB Pridham, with her 17th goal of the season, broke Wild hearts in the 93rd minute, I want to say.
Yeah, it was well into injury time. And yeah, unfortunate for the Wild. But, I guess really at the end of the day, it was still some of the same things haunting them. Inability to finish and be clinical and put the ball in the back of the net. They had some trouble with their clearances defensively. And obviously they showed better than they did in their previous couple games, but they still recorded the loss. But I was at the post-match press conference. Lydia Bedford was surprisingly positive about the outcome of the match. She was pretty pleased with the performance overall. And she said it was the fact that they just weren't clinical in front of the net to score, but she thought the team tried hard and played pretty well overall. And
I think I get what she's saying in that, like, it was a huge improvement from their last two games and probably even the game before that as well, which was a 2-0 loss to Toronto. Yeah, I mean, it's still a case of not being able to score, right? I think Maggie Doherty-Howard had a great shot from a long-distance free kick that almost went in, and then the aforementioned chance from Sarita Thurton. Those are probably the Wild's two best chances to score, but when your only goal in the last 5 games has come from a crazy own goal, it's just something's not right up front, and that was the case again this game, even though it the Wild did take quite a different approach to their lineup than we've seen in the last couple of losses.
One stat I pulled out right before we recorded, Scott, which I thought was kind of telling. DB Pridham for the Ottawa Rapid leads the NSL with 17 goals on the season. And the entire Calgary Wild team has scored 18 goals.
That says 1,000 words right there, I think.
The Wild's next match is on September 27th, so about a week and a half away. So we'll preview that match on next week's episode.
Hi, I'm Levi Laing, and you're listening to the YYC Soccer Podcast.
All right, this Saturday, Cavalry will be hosting Valor at Spruce Meadows, 4 p.m. kickoff at Atco Field. Should be an interesting one. Cavalry coming in after a win over Halifax last weekend. But I noticed that Valor is actually in pretty good form, despite I think they're in 6th place at the moment. Most likely not going to make the playoffs, but they are coming off of a win over Forge, of all teams. And before that, they actually put 5 goals past either Vancouver or Pacific. But basically, they're in a good run of form. I think they're unbeaten in their last 3.
I'm not going to go back into all the archives, but this is probably about as positive a run of form that Valor's had for quite a while. So I don't know, I think at this point what they're playing for, but in regards to playoffs, they're just saying we're playing for their jobs. But yeah, they're playing reasonably well right now, although I don't think historically they've done that well at Spruce Meadows. But yeah, and maybe they are going to have some fight in them when they show up at Atco Field on Saturday.
Valor has given Cavalry some grief this year. If you think about it, on July 29th, they beat Cavalry 2-1. That was that game with the late red cards in Winnipeg. And then before that, it was 1-1 until the death. And then Sergio Camargo scored the winner for Cavalry late in stoppage time. The first meeting of the season, which was way back in May 25th, Cavalry won 4-0. That was during a very strong run of form for them. That was actually the game where Levi Laing scored his first and only goal thus far as a professional, which is something we asked him about in our interview. Yeah, obviously, they got a win over Cavalry this year, Valor, and I'm sure they'd want to do it again and continue this run of form that they're on.
This will probably be your last chance to watch Valor in person, everyone. I will be shocked if this team is back in 2026. If Montreal is going to join the CPL, I think that this is going to turn into a situation like Edmonton and Vancouver a few years back. Valor's basically being propped up by the CPL right now, just like FC Edmonton was in their last year. And then once Vancouver FC came into existence and was able to ensure the league had 8 teams. Edmonton was dropped. And then I think here it's going to be the same thing. You're going to add in the Montreal Supra or whatever they're going to be called, and CPL will have their 8 teams, and they're gonna drop Valor next year. If that is the case, I would feel bad. I feel like Winnipeg never got really a really good chance at having a team. Their teams were always abysmal, and I think the ownership group with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers never really gave them the attention that they deserved. But anyway, nonetheless, we'll see what happens. But I have a feeling that could be the case.
So as mentioned, Jason, I think this is a good place to slot in our interview with Levi Laing. We can talk more about that goal that he scored against Valor earlier this season, as well as answer some of the other questions we had for him. I'd like to welcome Levi Laing to the podcast. Levi is a center back for Cavalry FC, having joined the club earlier this season. He's originally from the UK and has played for other clubs and academies throughout his career. Levi, thanks for coming on our podcast.
Thank you for having me. Really honored to be here and lovely to meet you guys as well. So it's honored. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on today. We want to get a little bit more details about your background and some of the clubs that you played with before coming to Calgary, and then ask how exactly it came to be that you did come to Canada to play for Cavalry.
I started off, my first club was Hampton and Richmond, my little local club. And I played there from when I was like 6 to 11, I remember. And then my next club was Brentford. I stayed there from 11 till 13. And honestly, it was one of the best times I ever had in my life. Like the people I met, everything, all the people it was incredible. Then unfortunately, Brentford closed down, and then I went to Arsenal, and I spent 5 years there. But I had my scholarship there, which was good. Then I moved to West Ham, and then from West Ham went on loan to Cheltenham. Played there a couple of times, but then I got injured, unfortunately, and then left West Ham and then went to Aldershot for a stint period, and now I'm at Cavalry. So that's been my career so far.
How did you end up signing in Calgary with Cavalry?
I always said I wanted to go to North America, and I wanted a fresh start because all my life all I've known is England. So for me to have a fresh start was good. So Cavalry came in, and I was like, oh, you know what? I've got in this life, if there's no risk, there's no reward. So let me take a risk and meet some new people, new team, new environment, new everything. So it was really, really good. It was quite easy for me as well because all the coaches and all the players were really, really welcoming when I first came as well, and still are. And I've got some family here in Calgary as well, which is really, really nice. So it's been an easy, smooth transition. And then I just really enjoyed my time here, honestly. I've been playing, so it's been good.
I wanted to ask what your awareness of the Canadian Premier League was before you were tapped by Cavalry. Was it something that you'd heard about, or did you maybe know some players who had played in the league before?
I was aware of it, and I had a friend called Ibrahim Bakare playing it as well. He's currently at Cheltenham. So he talked to me about the CPL and how it's a growing league and how people have done really well in this league and now are playing in some of the good divisions within Europe, like Belgium, second division, etc. And moving on to the MLS as well. So for me, as I'm still quite young, I've still got a lot to learn within my career, and I think this is giving me the platform to showcase what I can do, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And I can't wait to do well with the team. Like I said, I spoke to Ibrahim. He couldn't give nothing but good reviews about the CPL, so it made me aware of it. And then once this opportunity came, I was like, I have to grab it with both hands. And honestly, it's been one of the best things I ever did since I've been playing football.
Can you share some of the differences between what it's like to play pro in Canada and what you're familiar with in England? I'm sure the football culture is different. There's a lot of differences, but you want to talk about what you've really noticed?
One thing is I say in the training is different in the sense I think Canada's a bit more intense because sometimes in England you can have up to 50 games a season, 55 games a season, where in Canada you could potentially have like 30, 35, 40. So the trainings, I say, a lot more intense in that sense. But in that aspect, I feel like it was a bit more welcoming coming into the change room. Like, for instance, when in England, sometimes it can be a bit tough to come into a new change room, but whereas here, everyone welcomed me like I was part of the family. So honestly, in that sense, it was incredible. Like I said, meeting the new staff and the new people it was incredible. So I'll say those are the main two differences in that aspect. But there's also there's very many similarity. Like the standard of football from what I played in England and in Canada is similar, very similar. So yeah, it's been really good ever since for that opportunity.
Levi, have you faced any off-field challenges such as culture shock or being so far away from family? Has that been tough to get used to?
It's been tough, but in the same breath, I have family here in Calgary, which is really nice. So if I ever feel like a bit homesick or anything like that, I can always go to their house. They cook me a home cooked meal. So shout out to Greg and Erin for that. That's really, really nice. But like I said, my family's come up at least once. Someone new's come up every month, which has been quite nice for them. So I've had my friend come up, my sisters come up, my dad's come up, my girlfriend's come up as well. So it's been nice. So I miss miss seeing my friends regularly and my family regularly. But in that sense, I think I'm growing up now to the fact where I'm able to stay away from home. 'Cause I've been living away from home since 16. But obviously it hasn't been a flight away, but I've been living away from home. So it's been quite tough because sometimes you do miss home. Sometimes you do want to see your family, but at the end of the day, you got a job to do. So I can always see them in the off season. So I've got a job to do to win Calgary Trophy. So that's what I've got to do. That's what my main focus is right now.
You've mostly played center back since you've been here, but you also spent a little bit of time at right back. Center back, your usual preferred position, or you want to talk about what position you prefer to play typically?
Centre back's my main position for sure. Like I've grew up playing centre back for ages now, but I can play left back and right back as well. So it's not new to me. There's been seasons where I played the whole season right back as well. So it's nothing new to me. So I say in that sense I'm quite like versatile. So I can play right across the back four. So yeah, that's what I would say. That's the main things that's my main position, centre back. But I can play right back or full back if I need to.
Levi, we want to ask your thoughts on how this season has been going from your perspective. Obviously, Cavalry has been very hot and cold, right? They had a slow start in April, but then went on a great run of form, then another slump. Now they've been, I think, playing quite well again in recent matches. How would you rate the team's performances and how would you rate your own performances joining this club as?
Like I say, let's say we're defending champions. It's given that there's gonna be a time where we're not performing as well. It's given, but I feel we know what the team can do. Like if you've seen us now, like once we hit that form, when all guns blazing, no one can live with us. So we know what you can do as a team. So honestly, we're preparing for that, and we've had a good season. Obviously, it's not nice to be out of the can champ, but in the same breath, I think like I said, we can show what we can do. We've had that 12-game unbeaten streak where we didn't lose a game, so we can show that we can do it. In terms of my own season, I think I've had a decent season, quite a good season. Obviously, for me coming to a new league, meeting new players, seeing how different players play. So in aspects, it's been good to understand how different players, how different teams. I've never played against these teams before, but I think in myself, I've had a good season. I've played quite a bit, honestly, for my age. So honestly, I've been happy with my season. And obviously, I can always do stuff different. I can always improve. So that's what I'm trying to do with the coaches, improve my game every single day, get that 1% better every single day. But like I said, our team, we want to know what we can do. If all the pieces of the puzzle come together, we're unstoppable. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what we can show for the rest of the 6 games and hopefully in the playoffs.
And you scored a goal this year as well, which I think at the time you said that was your first goal at the professional level.
Yeah, for sure. It was an incredible feeling. Like I didn't know what to do because I've never been in the position really before scoring my first professional goal. So I had to dedicate it to me and my sister got a little handshake together. So I had to dedicate it to that's part of the handshake at the end, a little dance. So I had to dedicate it to her and dedicate it to some family friends and some loved ones as well. So yeah, it was good to get on the score sheet as well. Good to get my first professional goal and hopefully I can get some more.
I know it's your first year here, and you're young. Your career is just starting, but what are some of your mid to long term career goals? Like, where would you like to see yourself a few years down the line?
I say my midterm, I've always wanted to represent my country. Obviously, I'm English, but also I'm Jamaican as well. So, like I said, if I was to represent either of those countries, like in the long term, I'll be forever grateful in that sense. But yeah, I just like in the midterm to short term, win as many trophies as Cavalry can and play as well as possible, and let God do the rest. And then, if whatever happens with my football career, then so be it. So honestly, I don't want to think too long term. I don't want to think too midterm. But I don't want to think too long term or midterm. I just want to focus on the here and now, see what I can do, show what I can do, and then everything else will take care of itself.
You are eligible to play for Jamaica. Is that something that's on your radar screen? Have you been talking to anybody within the federation?
Of course, obviously my family's Jamaican on my dad's side. My mom's side is a bit more other Caribbean countries, but obviously it'll be an honour to represent either Jamaica or England. As I said, I represented England at the youth level. But like I said, I'm always open to representing Jamaica as well. So we've got to see. Hopefully I can continue to play well and see what happens. But like I said, I take every day as it is. I don't want to look too far ahead. So I just want to take every day as it is, take it match by match and hopefully let my football do the talking.
We like to ask players who come on, who's the toughest striker you've had to defend throughout your career? It could be someone at the youth level who's gone on to do big things or someone in the Canadian Premier League maybe, but who's the first name that you think of when you get that question?
I've got 2 at youth level. So I played against Jeremy Doku, who plays for City now, left winger. like his pace and acceleration, like it was incredible. And then like I call him Twinkle Toes. Jamal Musiala, played against him when I was youth level as well. Like we couldn't get the ball off him. Like honestly, it's like he was dancing on the pitch. Like it was incredible. So I'm honoured to play against those two players, and obviously they've gone on to do crazy things in their career as well. So I'm very, very happy to play against them and test myself against the best. So honestly, it's been good, man. So
Levi, I think that's it from us, but is there anything else you'd like to add? Any shout outs you'd like to make or anything like that before we end this call?
just want to say thank you to my family, to my teammates and my coaches as well for helping me get to where I am today. On a special shout out to Greg and Erin Clark, who have helped me settle in. They're my family here, so they helped me settle into Calgary really nice and been really, really helpful. Shout out to Mason and Maya as well, the children, but have helped me settle in as well. I've been always welcoming, so in that sense, I'm so grateful for them. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. And thank you for having me, honestly. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Levi. As mentioned, we're excited to talk to you and hear about your career. And yeah, best of luck with Cavalry's upcoming games and the postseason afterward.
Thank you so much, guys. See you soon.
Hi, guys. This is Noah Herdlicka, and you're listening to the YYC Soccer Podcast.
All right, Scott, let's move over and talk about some post-secondary action coming up this weekend. Let's start with USports men's. The Cougars and the Dinos are both going to be playing matches at home this weekend, and there really is actually one huge matchup on Saturday afternoon at Mount Royal, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm kind of choked that this is going to overlap with the Cavalry game because I'd really like to watch these two teams play each other again. 3 p.m. at Mount Royal University. The Cougars, who are ranked 7th in Canada at the moment, will be hosting the UBC Thunderbirds, who are ranked 1st. And this will be, I believe, the first time that UBC has played MRU at MRU since the Canada West Championship game in 2023, which MRU pulled out in quite the upset. So 2 very strong teams, a very different looking MRU team with a lot of new players, new recruits this year, but nonetheless a team that is performing really, really well, still unbeaten in the Prairies division, and taking on a UBC team that is pretty much always a Canada West powerhouse. Probably the best, university soccer you're going to see. Well, I think the Dinos will have something to say about that. But if you aren't interested in watching the Cavalry game, I would highly recommend making it out to MRU for that one.
And one other thing I want to mention about this match, about UBC, I pulled the information from the UBC roster. Isn't it crazy? Like the Calgary connections on UBC, they have 7 players on their roster that are from Calgary.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I don't think you would have seen this 10 or 15 years ago when, the UBC roster was so Vancouver heavy. But yeah, I mean, and a lot of familiar names to, I think, fans of the CPL and to listeners of this podcast, right? Like they've got Brennan Fewhurst, Marcus Kaiser. I think those are 2 names we've both mentioned on this podcast over the years. And then lots of other names as well. Josiah Walter, Marcus Puhal, Josh Njwangwi, Eric Kim, and Theo Afwerk. I'm not sure if I said many of those last names properly, but yeah, 7 players from Calgary on the T-Birds this year.
Yeah, Josiah Walker was on Cavs U21 this year, and Theo Afwerk, he actually was with York United in 2024. He never played, but he was a player that basically was on their roster and was kind of a developmental player, but yeah, he ended up at UBC. So we'll see. Maybe he's in a situation kind of like a Chinan Chanda and Owen Antonia. He's got a bit of CPL experience, and maybe that will parlay into a strong university career.
That, I think, will be a highlight match, Jason, but it's by no means the only game taking place in Calgary this weekend. The University of Calgary Dinos, who are currently ranked 12th in Canada, they will be hosting UNBC at McMahon Stadium on Saturday at 2 p.m. And then Sunday, there's going to be, I think, a very interesting matchup between the Dinos and the Victoria Vikes at McMahon. The Vikes will be coming into this. I believe they're in 2nd place in the Pacific Division of Canada West, and they are ranked 8th in the nation right now.
Yeah, with the exception of the Mount Royal Cougars game the Dinos played, this will probably be the toughest test they've had thus far. So big game for the Dinos if they want to crack the top 10. Getting a result in this match would probably go a long way to helping that.
And then lastly, in terms of games taking place in Calgary, the MRU Cougars will host UNBC on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m.
Okay, let's talk about USports in the women's division. The Dinos and Cougars are playing a couple matches each this weekend. They're going up to Edmonton.
Yeah, Dinos will be facing the University of Alberta on Saturday, while the Cougars take on MacEwan University. Both of those games are kicking off at noon, and then they will, Jason, as you often say, switch dance partners the following day. And the Dinos will be taking on MacEwan in the Diogo Raposo Derby for the second time this year. And then the Cougars will be at the University of Alberta.
Currently, the Dinos are ranked 4th nationally. Cougars are ranked 17th, but MacEwan's ranked 12th. They're a very strong team, and they've got some Calgary connections on there. There's several players from Calgary on the Griffins, but there was one player we actually wanted to highlight a little bit here. They surpassed a couple milestones here over the past weekend.
5th-year forward Grace Mwasala, who longtime listeners may recall is a former guest of our podcast, but way back in 2023, shortly after we got going. She recently scored her 33rd and 34th regular season goals of her USports career, and that moves her into a tie for 10th place all-time in Canada West history.
Kudos to her. That's she's had a great career with the Griffins. She's had some trouble with some injuries, but yeah, that's very impressive, and congrats to her for sure.
Her game-winning goal on Sunday was actually her 11th career game-winning goal, and that moves her into a tie for 4th all-time in the Canada West Conference in that scoring category, which is pretty cool. She's a clutch player.
Absolutely. Let's talk about SAIT Trojans. As they usually do, the men's and women's team are going to be playing a doubleheader. They're going to be down in Lethbridge on Friday, late afternoon, evening. They're going to be playing Lethbridge Polytechnic.
Yeah, and both of SAIT's teams are currently ranked in the top 10 nationally. SAIT's women's team is currently ranked 4th, and the men are currently ranked 8th. Thank you for listening to the YYC Soccer Podcast. You can have this podcast downloaded to your device as soon as it becomes available by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platforms. Check out our website at yycsoccer.com, where you can look through our episode archive and find other ways to listen, including our YouTube channel. We also have links to buy my book, Here Come the Cavalry, which is all about the history of professional soccer in Calgary. You can leave a question or comment in the Contact Us section of our website, or you can interact with us on social media through websites such as X, Instagram, or Blue Sky, where our username is @YYCSoccer403. Thanks for listening.